Hello everyone. Yeah, so, geez, it's all kicking off, isn't it? Jeebus. Well, unless it's the football, in which case nothing's kicking off until at least April. But, no, obviously that's not funny, and it's all kind of scary out there. And obviously on a Monday I like to do a video. And one thing that I think is interesting, because with the nature of the coronavirus, more and more people are looking at, possibly if they can, working from home, working remotely, what have you, in order to avoid unnecessary contact. Now, one thing that has often come up when I've spoken to people, because I say, because I've worked from home quite a lot, obviously with writing and everything, so it's very normal to me, and I come from a family of self-employed people, so again, for me, this isn't something that's particularly unusual. But you do get people saying certain things, and in this video I kind of wanted to, in effect, offer a little bit of advice based on the fact that I kind of do this quite a lot. And don't get me wrong, everyone's different. You might find different things work for you. So these are a few tips. Use them, don't use them, doesn't matter, with regard to self-employment. Now, one big thing that often comes up is people sort of say, like, oh, I won't be able to get anything done because, there's too many distractions at home. In practice, what I often find is when you get to the work, often sometimes it can be very hard to stop, and in actual fact, you're probably better off putting in breaks and making sure you stop sometimes. So that's a big one, I would say, like schedule in a break. And the good thing is, like I said, unless you have like a business where they expect you to sort of check in at certain times or do like conference calls or what have you, you could do this on your own schedule. Now, for me, for example, I like to go out and get a coffee in the morning before I start work and then do the work. Like, that for me, I personally find easier. Now, you might be different. You might be someone who works better in the afternoon or works better in the evening, or one of these, like, I know a few of them, the kind of night owl people that can, like, work like crazy in the night time and then sort of chill out more of the day, and that's fine. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. Like, whatever your best productive time is, that's fine so long as you do what you need to do. I mean, equally, don't beat yourself up if you don't get everything you have to do done in a day, because sometimes things get put off, and that's okay, so long as you kind of keep reasonably ahead of things, especially when it comes to deadlines. So yeah, that's a big thing, and yeah, it's just basically about keeping reasonably focused. Like as I said, I think everyone can find their routine if they do this enough. So, for example, I'll often have like YouTube videos on in the background or something like that, and then that helps me kind of tune out while I'm working. That may or may not work for you. That's fine, but give these things a try and sort of see how it goes. I would also suggest, going outside. I mean, I know like there's this advice about you shouldn't go to X, Y, Z, but I do think I think local businesses need to be looked after. So I do think if you can go out, then be sensible, but don't, I think, kind of completely shutting yourself out if you don't have to is fine. I mean, if you're doing the self-isolating thing, obviously that's different, and if you need to get deliveries in or what have you, that's fine. But I mean, if you've got like a back garden or something, I would suggest taking a walk or something outside, like in between doing work, because otherwise I think you can go a little bit cabin fevery. And I think, like I say, scheduling in breaks, it kind of helps. And also, strangely enough, I do think it helps you sort of be more productive, because you don't kind of burn yourself out while you're doing the work. Another thing I would suggest, if you have like a diary or a calendar, I would suggest having like a physical one rather than, I mean, some people work better using like spreadsheets or like programs on the computer and stuff. That's fine, but I don't know, I personally have that weird satisfaction where it's on a, well, I'll just show you. So I've got my diary right here, and there's just that certain satisfaction of, oh right, so I'm working on a video now, yep, tick that off. There's a certain, I don't know, it's a certain weird satisfaction. And I don't know, I like it. And it's just, it is things like that. And I think The other thing as well is I do think, sort of mentally preparing yourself is good. Because I think another thing that people often have with these things is not being able to kind of put themselves in a mindset. So some people, for example, I know, I don't do this myself, one, because I don't drive, and two, it's not something I personally feel the need to do, but sometimes people would like go out and like drive and then come back and then sort of have that mentally signal the end of the workday for them. And like I say, if you reach a certain point and you want to, put on the comfy clothes or whatever, that's absolutely fine. Like, find whatever you can do to kind of make your routine better. Like, because this is I think the main thing. I think if you have to do this, it is, and we have talked before with the creative tips about kind of creating routines, and I do think it's an important thing because it kind of keeps things reasonably consistent. Because I think the danger is sometimes you might get so sort of hung up, one day be really productive and then the next day kind of feel burnt out because you've really sort of hammered it the day before. Which, I mean, okay, if you had like a sudden deadline or something, that can happen. And, if it's something that really needs to be worked on, I get it. Ideally, I would suggest that you kind of try and keep it reasonably consistent. So, yeah, that's that. And like I say, I would also suggest, if you can, keep communication open with people, keep messaging people, keep being sociable however you can, whether it's Facebook, Skype, whatever. I mean, if you can physically meet up with people, I do think you still should, because I do think it's a balance, I think, right now between living your life and obviously you want to stay healthy. Now, yeah, I mean, I get it. I get that there are people that just kind of don't want to infect people, and if you want to be like that, that's cool, that's fine. But I think it's being sensible as well. So yeah, the usual advice of washing your hands and all the rest of it. Fair enough. I'm just worried, like I say, like I wouldn't want to kind of like lose that social aspect entirely, because it's good to see people and it's good to kind of get out. But like I say, that's if you're someone who is feeling well and, sort of, like I say, taking reasonable precautions. And of course, I don't really need to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like, you only need so much toilet roll. You only need so much pasta. Please be reasonable. Like, please don't take more than you need from people, because it's... I mean, when you see that, and and I'm not saying this to take the mick, and I get it that, it's a scary situation, so I don't want to kind of be completely dismissive, because I get that people are worried, like, as I say, if you can't go out, what if? But, I do think it's important to kind of be sensible and don't look like kind of wait for people to kind of put a ration thing on. Just only like so have enough. Enough is good, sort of being prepared is good. There is nothing wrong with being ready and sort of doing it to a reasonable degree. But like I say, outright panic buying, no, just don't do that. And I just, I mean, that's something, like I say, I don't think you need to do that. And yeah, I mean, I think most of all, I just want to say, just like, I hope everyone's been looking after themselves. And I think the big thing as well, of course, as I say, when we're talking about kind of self-employment and things, is if you can, please show your support. Because I know for a fact, I mean, I know lots of people have already mentioned this, that there have been various events that have been cancelled, and a lot of self-employed people, a lot of artists, a lot of creative people are currently struggling at the minute, because these are the things that they kind of make the money from. So if you can, spare something for someone's Patreon, don't get me wrong, if you do want to support ours, brilliant, link in description below. But equally, if you or someone who's watching this and you have a Patreon, if you have Ko-fi, PayPal link, tip jar, whatever, by all means comment it below. Let's have, people looking at this. Because I think as much as possible, show your support as much as you can, because I think in the kind of current climate, I think we all kind of have to do our bit for everyone else. And yeah, I just really hope you guys are all right, and look after yourselves, and just call people, and make sure the people around you are all right. And yeah, like I said, I just want to sort of say big love to everyone, because I know, for example, again, like as I say, for example, like the Norfolk Tweet Up meeting, I know that was cancelled. So yeah, I just want to say a big hello to everyone there, and you guys are all awesome, and the Kitty and all these people that have been very supportive. But like I say, as much as you can, look people up, see if your local business delivers, etc., etc. Do what you can, because I think off the back of this, it'll be interesting to see like how things change, and how everyone's going to adapt after this. But yeah, I mean, most importantly of all, I just want to just sort of say lots of love. My family, my friends, you guys are all awesome, and yeah, sod this flu virus bum guff. Much love.